What are we talking about today? African leaders' contribution to neo-colonialism. Now, I found myself in situations several times where I snap at people for piling all of Africa's problem on colonialism, putting all the blames on US, UK, France, the Netherlands, etc. Now, almost every continent, almost every country has been colonized one way or the other once upon a time, but they bounced back when they got their independence. Africa's case has been a grim exception, and in my opinion, that is because of the kind of leaders we produce in this continent. So today we're taking a look at African leaders and their contribution to neo-colonialism. You can call me Solo, you can call me Mr. Solo, you can call me Souls, you can call me Mr. Souls. Officially, I am Solomon Offem. Welcome to the show. You know how we do it. I'll talk a little about the topic. I'll introduce my guest, and today we'll have a Destiny Takan. He's a legal practitioner and current affairs analyst who will be joining us on the show. He will give us take an analysis, after which the phone lines will be open for you to make your contributions on the topic for discussion. So today there's no coalition of Peter Obi or Tinubu necessary. We're just talking African leaders in general and the problem of leadership we have in this continent. Okay, if you're just tuning in, this is Matters on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. And what are we talking about today? African leaders' contribution to neo-colonialism. Several countries outside of Africa that were colonized are now thriving after colonialism. But Africa's case has been a grim exception, and in my opinion, that is because of the kind of leaders we produce in this continent. We keep piling the blame of what's going on in Africa to outside forces. We keep blaming them on US, on UK, on France, on Netherlands. But we need to remember that every continent, almost every continent and almost every country have been colonized one way or the other once upon a time. But they bounced back when they got their independence. You don't see them complaining. Joining me on the show today is Destiny Takan. He's a legal practitioner and a current affairs analyst. Barrister Takan, thank you for joining us on the show today.
Thank you very much, Solomon, and Glad to be here again. Good day, listeners.
Yeah, it's always good to see you. It's always good to talk to you, rather. I can't see you because we're talking via phone call. So, now, there was
Okay.
a meeting yesterday where United States President Donald Trump hosted presidents of Gabon, Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, Mauritania, and Senegal at the White House in Washington, D.C. Now, the meeting focused on business opportunities as the African leaders sought partnership to develop their resources, which is not a good thing. We're in a global world, after all. According to a report during the launch at the state dining room, Trump said the leaders hail from very vibrant places with very valuable land, great minerals, great oil deposit, and wonderful people. That, according to Trump, he said there is a lot of anger in your continent. I've been able to, I'm quoting him now, I've been able to solve a lot of it, pointing to recent peace agreements leaders of the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda recently signed at the White House. Trump also hinted that the five countries were unlikely to face U.S. tariffs. At the meeting, Gabon's President Brice Oligui Nguema told Trump his country was open to investment and wanted to see its raw mineral resources processed locally, which would require more investment. That was a lot that were discussed, and several of these five countries came out to talk about what they wanted in the meeting with Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump don't exactly have a very good history with Africa. When he's called Africans several names. He also have a long recorded history with racism. With blacks in America. And we know that the current immigration push out of the US that's going on right now has basically been targeted on blacks, African countries, and Asian and Latino countries. Well, let me hear your contributions on this, sir.
Okay, thank you so very much, Solomon. Now, especially in the words used by Trump, for a start, I'll say that that was very derogatory, very, very spiteful.
Yeah, he has a history of that, so we can't exactly be surprised.
No, well, I'm not surprised, but I'm talking about the moment, about especially how he addressed Africa. But what do you expect? The point is said clearly, and that you dress the way you want to be addressed. And if you present yourself as a prospect, you will be respected. But if you present yourself as a dependent, as somebody who is a neophyte, who doesn't know his left from his right, you will also be regarded in that manner. And
Definitely.
For me, why even the trip in the first instance of 5 African countries at once? You would liken that to community leaders going up to the state capital.
Yes. Yes.
To visit the governor, to ask for intervention in one thing or the other, which in that sense is legitimate and understandable, because it is the responsibility of the state government, to provide amenities or intervene in whatever issues the community might have. But see, if you look at it from this perspective, you now understand exactly how ridiculous, how shameful it is for 5 African countries, presidents or leaders of 5 African countries, to go together at one clean spot, to meet the President of the United States of America, to say, oh, we have come to discuss this and to discuss that. It would have been more respectful if one of them only went. That is done. That's okay. Right? Could you ever imagine 5 European countries or 5 European leaders or presidents gathering to go to U.S. to talk, to discuss the way he just did with these African leaders? Would he address their countries the way he addressed the African countries? The people, nice minerals, and you know him. If you even look at his, the style would be very evident in his facial expression as he does it, and his gesticulation. Now, that is part of exactly what this discussion is about, all right? About what contribution. This is part of the contribution, the continuity or continuation of neo-colonialism, or colonialism actually. The contribution of colonialism as we go, which In the term, it's called Neo-Colonialism. It is the attitude of the African leaders, where they have not come to terms with the fact of what we are as a people, how blessed we are, how that in no measure are you less or inferior to anybody out there by whatever skin color, whether blue, white, or as they call themselves or whatever. Until you understand that these people need Africa, because indeed the West needs Africa, even far, far, far more than Africa needs the West.
Yes.
If the African leaders were able to articulate and understand this and articulate properly and come together, and it perhaps, if you are in a like situation, in a like pedigree or predicament, the better thing to do is to fuse together and articulate ways together how to get out of that predicament. Like you rightly said, this is not just about the 5 countries that went to the U.S., it's about virtually all of the African leaders. Maybe one would say, with the exception of Burkina Faso, Niger, and Chad, perhaps, who, for me, the leadership there have at least, mark my words, just taken a step away.
I mean, what that did was just leave U.S., Europe, and go to Russia. I mean, it's still neocolonialism.
No. Let me finish. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If you were, I don't know if they've gone to go. If they went to Russia, I'm sure they can. That's why I say, mark my words, a step better, far much better than what you see have with the rest of the other African countries. Okay. At least today we know, and we read, and we know a lot that is being done, manufactured, produced inside of Burkina Faso. Okay? Was it the Angola man, Wema, the one who spoke? Yeah, made a little bit of a sense that I have always said that, look, if Africans would insist that the Chinese come here and not just lift our raw materials, if they were to insist that Europe, that US, Netherlands, okay, well, the whole of Europe actually, that's Netherlands is part of Europe, and the West, in short, were to come here and set up their factories and industries, manufacture, not just lift raw materials because of the low exchange rate between our various African currencies and their own currencies. So leave them at virtually no cost to them, go and manufacture, refine them, reproduce them, and sell them to us at equivalent time the cost of the raw materials they took from here. We will be far way better than we are today. For the employment opportunity to offer, the exchange rate regime, the valuation of our currencies would improve, because then you also earn more, because the normal the raw materials are not being purchased. So they manufactured here, taxes are paid here in our country, and then they're taken abroad to whatever country. Fine. If a country like the US were to, or any other country as it were to work together with any of the African countries, synergize, partner, and say, okay, look, you produce the financing and the know-how, we would also be able to say, okay, we undertake to say, okay, we would sell our finished product exclusively to you. But even at that, I said, we would have been a lot better than where we are today, letting them compete the raw materials. We have the best raw materials that are needed. Uranium, you have gold, diamond, you could name them all over Africa. Californium, oil. What do they do? Look at Nigeria, for instance. Nobody is able to account for what quantum of oil is lifted by any of these, whether it is Shell, whether it is Mobil, whether it is, what's the other Italian one? Any one of them, no one is able to account. Right up to several 30, 50 years ago. This is the quantum that is lifted. This is what is, because we don't refine, they lift it here, and then you have very corrupt leaders in Nigeria and in the rest of Africa who allow these things to happen because they enter into arrangements with them, where as they leave these things, some of the what is listed is given or paid to them, and they also provide safe havens for them to stash all of this, a common patrimony, money that are stolen. They provide safe havens for them in the U.S. and in the rest of the West, in exchange. So it is the mentality at the end of the day of the African leaders. If they would sit up and understand that a rich man who is surrounded by poor, hungry people is a poor man as well. He's also a hungry man, because that's why they go around with bulletproof vehicles, bulletproof everything. Bulletproof virtually everything. That's what they do. Why? Because they know they are surrounded by people like Trump said. The people are angry. There's a lot of anger in your country. And we'll try to do a bit of it. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to sound like you would, And yeah, he's sounding that way because there's a lot of anger, a lot of bitterness. Because when you're surrounded by poor people who see the ostentation, the life you live, for you, your children, your cronies, your cohorts, they will be angry. And that's because people are angry. And give an instance. Very clearly, Tinubu is coming to Lagos. What happens? The city grinds to a halt. Policemen line up everywhere. What's that? Is that what happens in the UK when the Prime Minister is moving to anywhere, or in the US? Do you see that? The whole of the South Mainland Bridge, the whole of Bodilon, the whole of Ikoyi, everywhere. People suffer every day. They know Tinubu is in town. Why? He is even afraid of his own shadow. When you surround yourself with so much wealth and everybody is hungry and complaining and desperate, you have to do exactly that. Surround the roads with policemen, drive in armored vehicles, live in armored gates, live in armored everything. That's imprisonment, actually. They're actually in prison. But you see, it's a mental thing at the end of the day. Neo-colonialism is thriving because of the sick mentality. The primitive accumulative mentality of African leaders, who if only they would understand that when you give security of expectation for life, for health, for one's well-being, for one's standard of living, nobody would, because then everybody has a reason. You have an enabling environment or atmosphere to be at your best. And so your attention is also drawn as to the government, because you are able to be the best of the human person that God has made you to be. Why? Because your government, understands that the essence of governance is for the greater good of the people in the short, the middle term, and the long term. Until governance and those in government or who call themselves leaders begin to see that where you can retire with just a pension as a retired governor, as an ex-governor or president, and if you have led well, provided all of the amenities, and the economy is good, you will not have need to steal and steal and steal. What are you stealing all of that for? Because you are corrupt, because you have maybe some of them imbibed this thing because it has been going on for a very long while. And you see, up and until when, by whatever means, divine or otherwise, we're able to get these people to reason and turn things around, nothing changes. Today, it's getting worse. You know why? You have Yahoo Plus, as they call it. You have ritualists. You have militants. You have kidnappers. You have, well, if you would accumulate so much wealth and display it, and then people think that, oh, look, wealth, you don't need to go to school. You don't need to spend so much time. You don't need to work so hard. You don't need to do all of these things for you to get money. There are other ways. Just go grab somebody and say, oh, bring money or he dies. Or, perform a ritual and all of that. Do you see in the US, do you hear the government crying about rituals, sacrifices? Do you hear so much about kidnapping? Do you hear so much about militants and all of that? all of these things are vestiges and pointers of bad, corrupt governance, wicked governance. When you steal and loot and add up, pile up the commonwealth to yourself, and people become despondent, desperate, virtually hopeless, they begin to resort to all manner of things. Spirituality, in the negative sense, to want to get money and just be relevant, or just either just live by, be able to make a living. It's nothing. So that's exactly, so I'm saying the mentality of the African leaders is the problem. And I do not blame the West, because they know that these people
I say the same thing all the time.
Yes, and they are corrupt. So all we need to do, go tell them and say, we're taking the gold from your country. We will give you 20%. Just provide access for us. And in the highest of stupidity, why would you agree to such a thing? The gold belongs to you. You're the leaders, you're in government. You don't need somebody from outside to come take 80% and give you 20%. It's like your own part of your inheritance. There's a same way I'm from. That if you do not know your father's property, your father's cola tree, you would buy from it. You would buy from your father's cola tree, because a stranger will pluck from it and sell to you, because you do not know that that's actually your own cola nut that you're buying. So the mentality is likened to that, where they come and make promises to you because they know you're corrupt, and so they know you will fall for it. Can you go tell the president of any of these countries in the West that kind of thing, and he falls for it? First of all, the institutional framework, the democratic institutions are working, and he knows that he can't even get anywhere. Accountability would hold him, liable, and he will go to prison, and he will lose all of that money. So we need to. But what I don't know right now, like I said, I mentioned maybe by divine intervention, because Nigeria, for instance, where we are from, has become a country where the vote doesn't even count anymore. As far as I'm concerned, we saw that in 2023. Until today, the hierarchy of INEC, Mahmoud is still there as chairman of INEC. And then we're here deluding ourselves that we'll have a different situation in 2027. You can vote however you care. You can all come out from your houses and line up. With the Mahmoud there, the same thing do we have. 400 billion or thereabout was voted to be digitalized. Did you get a digital result? You got phony, primitive explanation. And then they slide it, they just went
despite the technology we have and how far the world has advanced in terms of technology.
The funds that were voted for that purpose. So that's why I say divine, because one would have said, look, we can kick these people out. We come out, we can massively stay mobilized, come out, vote on the day of election. But I've said, vote anyhow you would now. It wouldn't matter until they do the right thing. The electoral process, until the electoral process has integrity, such that the vote from the polling booth, as will reflect straight away, just like you see in the US and elsewhere, where the things are going in straight away from the polling unit, straight to a collated, central, open collating center, where there's no Mahmoud or anybody to tell you about this fail or that fail and all of that. So until that happens, I don't know what will happen with Africa, but maybe if we keep talking this way, a lot of you will come to understand. And I have advocated, very civil, non-violent resistance, to bad governance, especially the one we have. We are that threshold. We're at the point where the electoral process cannot guarantee anything. You cannot sack anybody by the electoral process of Nigeria. And I'm sure, so we've seen with most type rulers leaders in Africa, most African countries, where you have the family, ruling a country for the father dies, the son takes over for 80 years and all of that. No, it wouldn't have been a problem, honestly. Because if you look at most countries,
the family have turned the country into their personal property.
Exactly. If for most countries, Singapore, for instance, you have a single leader, Mao Zedong, you have stations, Gandhi, You have a situation where a leader who is patriotic and nationalistic comes up, he is there, but he is doing everything to turn his country around, and it is obvious, it is evident, the whole world is seeing it. That country becomes the attraction. No, but in our case, all they are there for is to loot and loot and loot the country dry.
Now,
Not much.
there are several countries outside of Africa that were colonized and are now thriving. You know, of course, a typical example is Singapore, where they were colonized by the same British, Nigeria from 1867 to 1963. We have South Korea. We saw this situation in South Korea. We saw the situation in South Korea where the president, imposed the martial law, and now he's been impeached. That is a country where democratic values are topmost. Of course, we also have India. If you know the country of India, of how they suffered in the hands of England. But if you see how they are thriving now, you won't believe it. The same country. You have Brunei, you have Qatar and the United Arab Emirates. Both countries gained their independence in 1971. We have Philippines, Indonesia, to mention a few. So why do you think African countries, it's different for us? Because now it's like we have a common person to blame. We blame the West for everything. Oh, the West did this and the West did that and the West did this. And most times I tell people, take a look at this other country where they were colonized, and some of them gained independence. We gained independence longer than so many of them. But if you see how they are thriving now, you're wondering whether ruled by heaven or by God. But why do you think that is?
Well, I'll use Nigeria for instance. For me, I think that the heterogeneous nature of Nigeria, the multi-ethnic composition of Nigeria is in itself.
India is also multicultural and multi-religious.
I'm coming to it. Don't pick my brains. All right, now, so the point I'm making is that an emphasis, I was going to say something before you interjected, and the emphasis on bigotry, religious bigotry and ethnic bigotry is the main problem of Nigeria. Yes, India is several times more, you want to say, like right now, the most populous nation on earth. So you want to say at least 5 times or thereabout, 5 times the size of population of Nigeria, and far more ethnic groups than Nigeria. In all of this, I would think that most nations have been helped where ethnicity and religious bigotry, ethnic bigotry and religious bigotry have not been taken to an extreme position as we have taken in Nigeria. I have recently I've had to tell people and say, let's use Nigeria for instance. Today, the man that has so rock is Yoruba. But there's no market where Yoruba man goes and they say, buy rice for 30,000 because you're Yoruba. Or a school where they say, pay school fees for less. Or transportation from Ikeja to Obalende, they say, okay, you are Yoruba, pay less. What should that teach us? And this is politicians. They are responsible for this. So we've come to a point where we should begin to reason that it's not about what ethnic group or what religion, but about the people. Because these people who are in government all have one ethnic group, political ethnic group. They have one religious political religious group. Because when it comes to sharing our common patrimony, they do not care whether they are Christian or Muslim or atheist. They do not care whether they are Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, or Boki, or Ibibio. They do not care that. They are all of the same language, same. So we should come to a point where we understand that when a certain person from the ethnic group comes in there, it doesn't help you. So aim for the best person. But of course, that's where I decried the electoral process earlier on. Where would I have been able one way or the other to deal with the electoral process? I've not forgotten that. Okay, so going back to the main point, it's not all about that, but I only say because the extent to which we have taken all these bigotries, ethnic, religious, and all of that. But of a truth, and for all of Africa. I think we have come to a point where we need to. I have advocated. I'm sorry, I need to say this. I'm a lawyer. Yeah, I'm educated. But you see, in a situation where you have a failed electoral system, what else? Is it? We'll pray to God. There's nothing God cannot do yet, and to Him that believes too, nothing is impossible. But I said, if I had the capacity to see the reins of governance, so how much I love my country, see the reins of governance for a definite period of 2 years or something, all over Africa. If we could have people who are nationalistic and patriotic indeed, who could see the reins of governance and for a definite period of maybe 2 years, set up an INEC, for instance, we could probably not be able to restructure African governance because it is institutional. It is mental and institutional. Two serious problems. Mental and institutional. We do not have the mental attitude to know that when you provide good governance, it's for your own good in the long run and for the good of everybody else. We do not have the institutions to defend democracy. Democracy in the sense of widely defined and accepted by Abraham Lincoln, government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Until we have the institutions that can defend democracy, I'm afraid if we could have a turnaround, because what do you have? And it's getting worse with the day. The impunity with which they do what they do. I'll use my country today. The likes of Wike, the likes of Fabio and Co, and all the things that happen. They come out openly, say things that you can never hear anywhere in any other part of the world. And nothing happened. Oshomole did that during Buhari. Well, go and see, once you come to APC, your sins are forgiven. How could any person in public office say that? Can you say that in the US or in the UK, any part of the UK? Oh, we heard all of that and nothing happened. And it's happening. Today, everybody is shifting to APC. Why? You're in government, you've stolen, you're a governor, a sitting governor, you've stolen so much fun. So the only way to play safe so that you can enjoy the loot is to cross over to the APC from PDP or from any other party. That's all they're doing. Just going for a safe haven. Oh, he has come to join us. Okay, EFCC and ICPC. Don't go after him. That's how serious the problem is. Honestly, I really hope, like I've said, you can see that I'm thinking an extreme manner to think that one would think that one could have nationalistic and patriotic people who can seize the reins of governance for the good of the nation for a definite period and set up institutions. That's what Africa needs. Now, I'm afraid, and it's so shameful, but true that that's just about what we need at this point. Probably in all of Africa.
Now, for all the bad of colonialism, for all the disadvantage of colonialism, there were some advantages too, like colonial powers built infrastructure such as road, rail, bridges, and ports, with which have facilitated trade, transportation, and communication. In other words, infrastructure development. There was also education on healthcare. Colonizers introduced Western education and healthcare system. Whatever your impression is about Western, education, economic growth, modernization, language, and cultural exchange. But for whatever reason, African leaders decided to pick the bad characters because, these guys weren't God. They introduced, this white men weren't God. They introduced a lot of things to Africa, both good and bad. But African leaders, or Africans generally, not just the leaders, it's like we picked the bad parts of what the Westerners introduced in Africa and hold on to that and pushed the good part to the to the backyard, basically.
Well, to be honest with you, I do not think that even push them to the backyard. See, what African leaders do is that they do the good thing for the wrong reason or wrong way. And they do the bad things and clothe it with goodness. They do the bad thing and tell you it's not bad. or it's not what it seems. It's like catching somebody red-handed and they say, no, it's not what you think. It's not what you think.
And they try to
Thinks
justify it
something
and create a white lie out of it.
exactly. So if they want to do the right thing, they'll be doing it for the wrong reason. They'll be doing it to serve an ulterior and ill-advised motive, not for the good reason. Like you said, Wally, the same countries, especially the England, that colonized so many nations. And then, of course, the Portuguese, the Spanish,
The French.
and the French colonized a lot of countries. These countries you mentioned, for instance, the Asian tigers.
Yes.
Most of them colonized by England.
Singapore,
But they've
South
come up
Korea, Qatar, United Arab Emirates.
They have pulled through. It's the same English language we speak, or we're speaking right now, that they also speak, that we're taught with the medium. They communicated with the white man. So what have they done? Maybe starting from, because growing up, I used to always say that we had, the problem we have is those people called, those who play politics the way they played in our country. They are the major problem, and they are very few compared to the rest of the population. They are responsible for the entire wars of Nigeria, for instance, and in Africa entirely, in the name of democracy or politics. I do not know particularly what to say regarding them, because these things were saying as between Nigeria, for instance, and Singapore, or even Malaysia. Malaysia came to Nigeria and took our farms, our seedlings. And today they are better farm oil producing country than us. What's the difference? Is it their soil that is richer? No, it's not. But it is a mentality.
And they gained their independence just 3 years, above us. 1957. So it's not like they gained independence 20, 30 years before us.
So if you take that, for instance, that they even came here and took oil palm seedlings from here, and today, it tells you that there is nothing that we set our mind to do as a people that we will not be able to achieve. With the right leaders, right motive, right will. Even God. I'm a Christian. Everybody listening may not be a Christian. I said so. He said, if the people are one, and their vision is one, their thought is one, their language is one, whatever they say to do, even He will not be able to stop them. That's how strong it is. But we have politicians whose will, whose language, whose purpose is primitive accumulation of our commonwealth and a misdirection of the trajectory of our country. And that's how we are. And so that I keep saying the problem is not with the West, it's with our own people. This is like the George Orwell Animal Farm, where,
Yes.
of course, the problem was with man. Okay, man is driven away, and then the animals begin to do what man was doing. But you see, it's even worse, because what our people, these politicians, are doing is far, far worse than what the white man who colonized us did. Because they were not this crude, this mean, this heartless, this conscienceless. They were not. The white man was not. Slavery was the worst thing he ever did to the black man. But apart from that, yes, they structured...
And even African leaders contributed even to that slavery.
Exactly. The institutions we have today, the prototypes, they left us. Why have we not been able to look at back after the First World War and Second World War? Eventually, the whole of the West, house helps with Chinese, cooks. Today, China competes with the U.S. in everything, and even better. It's a mentality thing. It's a people having to wake up and say, we have been down too long. Why are we down? We shouldn't be down. We have the potential. We have long limbs. How can a man with long limbs be crawling or be squatting like a cripple when he should be standing and towering? That's what Africa is. The whole of the world, the whole world, depends on Africa for vital natural resources. And so why do we have to keep letting them exploit our raw natural resources? at a pittance. Because, like I said, out of their wicked, that's where the West has their good. You wouldn't blame them, or who wouldn't do it? If you're not reasonable enough, or better said, even foolish, and I can take what is worth $1 million from you for 10,000, and you will give me smiling, why shouldn't I take it? Especially for the white man. Of course, he takes it. And he goes away, improves on it, and comes back and sells it to you for 2 million. So until we understand all of these things, that the West, the world relies on us for aviation, for even the atomic, energy thing, and all the uranium and all of that. Africa has it. This is where it is. So until we understand that, look, they need us more than we need them. Until we have a crop of leaders who would articulate better for the good of the people, for good governance, for security of life. Look at this sort of insecurity in our country today, for instance. The value of human life to this government. It's a sing song. There's 100, 200 killed here and there. Elsewhere, and then the president is sitting down somewhere on a trip. The chief of defense staff is having even a party, perhaps, or something. The IG of police is speaking rhetoric. In other climes, they retire. They resign, rather. That's what they will do. But we are becoming near to such news. How could that be? It is because of the kind of people you have in government who call themselves politicians.
Now,
and as I've said, how that would change, I'm still thinking.
Now, what are the contributions to the ordinary African citizens to our bad leadership? Because I mean, these leaders come from us. We voted them in, or we projected them in, because I mean, electoral malpractice and electoral corruption doesn't happen in isolation. They have enablers. Some of ordinary citizens enable some of these people to be able to cheat, to be able to do electoral malpractice and so. Now, I'll give you an instance where 3 weeks ago there was a news that circulated online where a driver was it $4 million or something, about 4 million or 400 million naira. I can't remember the exact amount now. White man, I can't remember the country, and then he gave it back to him. And then few days later, even the driver came and started crying that even his people, everybody around him, were berating him for returning the money, to the white man. And I mean, this is not a leader we're talking about here. This is ordinary people in your compound, in your street, in your neighborhood. So these leaders come from us, we the ordinary people. How did we enable them? Because we keep crying that we have bad leaders, we have everything in Africa apart from leaders, but we project these people to lead us.
Okay, well, that is, yes, indeed. The people also have a huge chunk of the percentage blame for where we are, yes. Because look at the elections coming even in 2027. You would see that who are those youth? The people who are youth are the very hungry ones, who today, as we speak, will see you on the street and say, Oga, please, if he begs you is hungry, he wants 1 naira to go and eat. On the day of election, you are at the polling booth, the same guy will slap you, if you're not lucky, even stab you to death. And after the election, he gets back on the street pleading for money to eat. Because those who use him on the day of election to give him 10,000 or 20 to commit havoc, don't look his way after the election. So they are there enabling. In each community, in each ward, you have selected people who politicians use, professionally, they are there, who have a stranglehold or more or less, who have a hold over the people in the world or in the community. When it comes to anything, for instance, they say, let's check back to right. In each ward in Lagos, the politicians know only those people. They give it to them. And those people have their own people they also know. This right never trickles down.
Those ones even have their own people, and it trickles down like that. Okay.
It doesn't trickle down to those who actually need it right in the world. It goes to that politician gives it to his own stalwart, who give it to those who are also answerable to them. And some of these, that's why some of it even ends up rebacked and sold in the market. You know, so we have a serious issue where we really need to look inward. And I sometimes just get lost for ideas because of what I can say is happening. Stop.
Hello, sir. Oh, looks like we lost him.
Hello?
Good to have you back. Can you hear me, sir? Good to have you back.
Yes, please. I hear you. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so the people's contribution is but yeah, that I've said a bit of that, but also I think the story of Hitler during the Second World War, where he gathered his generals and said, "Let me tell you who the people are. The people are nothing. The people are what we make them. The people are what we tell them that they are." And what did he do? He said he picked a cock. And right in the presence, of all of the generals, he plucked out one feather after the other. You can imagine how painful that must have been for the poor cock. One feather after the other he plucked. The cock was shivering and bleeding. And then what did he do next? He brought out corn and started throwing to the cock whom he had not brutalized. And then the cock followed him, picking one piece after the other. He said, "You see, that is the people. They are nothing. After all I've done to this cock, look at it coming after me, taking pitances and just throwing corn at it, and it's coming to pick it. It thinks I'm doing it a favor." So that's how politicians see the people, and that's how they treat the people. So until the people realize that, like I've said before, there's no market for the Hausa man, for the Yoruba man, for the Igbo man, different from the Boki man or the Yako man, until they see that there are no separate markets, that we all go to the same market, the same bus, the same school fees, you will not matter. It won't matter anymore who it is that comes to you. You think about your own welfare. So you're not treated like Hitler treated that cock, all right? So the people's contribution is in acquiescing, but the people's mentality has been manipulated over time too, and that's what is responsible. In my days growing up, I knew that if a civilian, a public servant, stole money and it was announced and the community knew it, and he gave that money to an elderly man in the village, he said, "I don't need your money, it's stolen money." That's how it was. You get the instance of that driver, and you said, "Oh, the people are," yes. Over time, I declared the situation where today we have Yahoo and all of that. Why? Because, you see, when you organize the reins of governance the way we have our politicians do, you deprive the people all of the means of sustenance and getting revenue, you stifle them. Somebody deliberately in government said he was going to take away the purchasing power of Nigerians. And he has done that successfully. How much do you buy petrol today? A bag of rice, beans. It was a policy he came with that he would take the purchasing power. Do you know what that means? That means poverty. It means he's going to impoverish Nigerians, and he has done that successfully. And an impoverished man, it becomes dehumanized. He can go for anything, like that cock running after Hitler. So before elections, they make committees or they give them a pittance which cannot sustain them for more than a week. And they go out and unleash mayhem on the people, deliver power to them, against the wish of the people. So, and this has happened over time.
Okay.
People have become inured to bad governance. People have become inured to being treated like Hitler treated the cock. And they start thinking that they are not willing to rise up and say enough is enough. So the people have been responsible in that regard, but it's about time they say enough is enough. It's about time to say, no, you are the one who put us in this situation. So you cannot come back. They come to you only during elections. After the elections, have you seen them sharing the rice? Have you seen them sharing shirts to you and caps? Have you seen them giving you little envelopes? No, rather on the street. They have vehicles. When their convoy is coming, they will utilize you. After the election, you can't buy fuel for your vehicle, even for your bike. After the election, you can't eat. You can't look at electricity. A lot of things. So the people should come to the point right now to understand that, look, our problem is not with ourselves as to whether you're Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, or where, or Igala. It's not about whether you're Christian, Muslim, or what. The problem is with bad, evil governance which we have.
Okay, sir.
Those who are responsible for it are the enemy of the people. The people are one. The people should be one. The people should come up together and stick together and forget these narratives that the politicians have sunk into their mentality, into their brain. Oh, he's Yoruba man, so you are Hausa, don't. Oh, he's Igbo, don't. Igbo. No, we need the best of all of us. If the person who is going for election is Igbo and is the best, he should be our person. If he's from the north, the Hausa, Fulani, and he's the best from his antecedents, Because my people have a saying that the dog whose tail is folded, he didn't fold at adulthood, he folded from childhood. If you had noticed when it was still a puppy, you would have noticed that they had a folded tail. The tail doesn't fold suddenly. The antecedents of whoever comes up to say, I want to be, should always be considered.
Okay.
So we stop putting, because when you put a thief in government, they'll be stealing everywhere. You put in jihadists, we have jihad and banditry everywhere. We've seen it in this country.
Okay,
you put
sir.
a good man. Even the Bible says it. When the righteous has an authority, the people rejoice. When you put these bad people who qualify eminently by affidavit, who don't have certificate, who have fake, forged documents, who make nonsense of education and make sure that what's the point going to school? After all, those who are leading you never went to school, or they have forged documents. So nobody wants to go to school. They jump into Yahoo, they jump into all sorts of things. Let the people come together. Let the people come together.
Okay, Barrister.
And exorcise deliberate use, exorcise ethnicity, religion from their psyche, and know that the common enemy of the people are the politicians.
Okay, sir. It's always a pleasure talking to you, Barrister Taken. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. That you have me. Thank you.
That was Destiny Taken, a legal practitioner and current affairs analyst, talking to us today. Okay, the town hall is open. The phone lines are on. Time to make your contributions. The number to call 0700-903-903-903. I called it again, 0700-903-903-903 or 0803-692-9933. Number again, 0803-692-9933. Or you can call us or text us via WhatsApp. The number is 081-717-56338. Again, the WhatsApp number, you can call or you can send us messages on there. 081-717-56338. Okay, I've got my first caller today. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon. My name is Robert.
Robert, calling from?
Yes, Surulere.
From Surulere. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Robert. Talk to us.
Thank you. Please, the people are the problem. Now, you can see everywhere now they are trying to pass the road, clean the road, sweep. They are deceiving people just because the election is around the corner and Saturday. And we, after the election now, we don't see them again. 4 years. After 4 years, they will come back and continue doing it. People are so, it's like they put black nylon on their face. They don't have, I don't think they are seeing it. I don't know what is going on. We are just suffering hardship. I'm praying 2027, everybody should come out and vote. The hunger is too much. It's too much. You can see guys, see your young youth. They are begging all over, nowhere to sleep. And we are still saying, our local, it's our turn, it's our turn. We'll go to the market, we'll buy rice, we'll buy this one. Even my salary, I cannot eat 2 times a day with my own salary. In my own country.
Most Nigerians are the same.
In my own country, it's like I'm a slave in my own country. I'm not happy, I'm just begging, like, next year should just be 2027. We should not go far, so that everybody should make sure they come out and vote this man out, because the hardship is too much. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Let me read some messages I have here on WhatsApp. My question still remains, why did the American president select that few African countries and all African countries? This is solidly because of the specific minerals they needed, and the other African countries which they do not need their minerals should be banned and ignored. Africa needs to speak one voice. Thank you very much. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, sorry, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for joining us on the show today.
Yeah, this is Lucky Boy, the Calabar Ibo boy calling from that.
Oh, my Calabar Ibo boy.
Yeah.
Where you there now?
Tawa.
Okay.
Exactly.
Avi, talk to us.
You see, the things going on in Nigeria, it always makes some of us depressed. I even cry for my own state, Cross River State, which was the first capital of Nigeria. Now, as in, the youth are now running out from Cross River State, some are going to Ondo, some are coming to Lagos. God. I always wait for my country, Nigeria. We are the ones doing ourselves. See, it is when all of us join our hands together in unity and say an end to bad governance, that is when it will surely come to an end. And the youth of my generation, you see, the youth of my generation, I don't even know. I wanted to say that the youth of my generation are going to fiber, but most of my youth now are doing yahoo. No one is getting serious. No one is serious. Even myself, me that is always listening to radio, they always sound me, telling me that I'm an old man. The young boys are trying and pressing to get money. Me, it's always radio 247. I don't know. We are not yet serious in this country. We are not serious.
Thank you very much. Thank you for talking to us. Okay.
Thank you.
I can see so many messages here on WhatsApp, but most of these messages have nothing to do with what we're talking about. So please let your conversation be tuned into what we are discussing today. Good afternoon, Mr. Souls, the man that knows his job. Oh, thank you. God bless you as you change our narrative today. Okay, I'll continue that message. Okay, let me continue. So because I'm really tired of discussing 2027 under 2 years administration with nothing tangible to talk about. Before Peter, okay. God bless your guest. I love his analysis. Mommy Sam from Ayobo. Thank you very much, Mommy Sam. Good afternoon, Mr. Solomon. We as citizens have tried in our own way by voting, because different people into the government, just to see how to get it right, but to no avail. My question is it wrong to try Peter Obi just for 4 years? Please, let our conversation be tuned to what we're talking about today. Today we're taking a look at African leaders and their contribution to neo-colonialism. How our leaders, out because of corruption, because of selfish reasons, make bargains with a lot of these foreign powers, and at the end of the day, the people that know little or nothing will be blaming all our problems on US, blaming all our problems on China, on UK, on France, forgetting that our leaders are the ones that are welcoming them, bringing them in, helping them to loot our resources. That is what we're talking about today. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Oh, you have to call us back.
Yes, Solomon. Good evening.
Yes, good afternoon. Tell us your name, where you're calling from.
Okay, so this is Prince Akwachi calling from the state of California.
Oh, Prince Akwachi. Okay, now I understand why you are good evening me, because it's very much afternoon here. Thank you for joining us on the show today.
What about now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so I so much love your analyst, and God bless his heart. You know, the same thing that I keep saying as well, when people keep blaming the West. They will tell you, oh, the West did this, the West did that, and all that kind of a thing. But then forgetting the fact that you cannot say because somebody did something to you, then you're forever. You know, you cannot rely on the same thing forever. Now, at the same time, when he's saying it, I'm glad that he's also a lawyer. Nigerian lawyers are very, very culpable in this governance of Nigeria. Okay, somebody like let me, what's his name, Abakoba. I love him so much, but the things that he did, when you look at it too, you say, what this man is doing, is he doing it for money? Or he's doing it for the fact that he knows the right thing to be done? Most of the people in power today are being helped by lawyers. The same lawyers that you see somebody that did not go to school, but they will go and defend the person and say, oh, yeah, it's not relevant. And at the same time, they will tell you the Constitution didn't say the person must actually have a certificate, as long as the person can read and write. What a country. What a country. But I pray that people should wake up. Yesterday, I saw a video of somebody in Edo State threatening that come 2027, that Edo State is going to be for whoever it is that he's going to stand for. Threatening, and the DSS and everything is looking at that. I'm sorry for Nigeria. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Prince Akwachi. Thank you for joining us. Okay, we've got more calls. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good afternoon. Just calling from Aja.
Okay, talk to us, sir.
Yeah, my brother. Everything boils down to much on leadership.
Okay.
Because really, I won't lie you. This present government, a lot was at stake on them at their coming. A lot are confessing that they even quietly supported them, thinking that particularly the background when we are talking of tribalism, the background of education and everything, but the government has disappointed a lot, even from that quarter. And that is why tribalism may not even matter much. I was telling Ikemi today in the morning that this our radio should de-emphasize a lot, so that anything that we want, it won't look like we are promoting an agenda of one person or the other, because we are the quagmire. If we couldn't get it at 2027, we are in a problem. Our children will continue this suffering. And the issue that we are talking about concerning recognition in the international world, they see all the data. They have all the data. We don't have data. They know everything. So that is the reason why they choose who they want to associate with. And they are following their own agenda. What is the agenda of Nigerians? All our monies are stuck in their various banks. The first thing that should be done, which everybody is attacking Obi for, he knows that he will try as much as possible to repatriate all this our money. Look at the years that we have been repatriating Abacha's, allegedly, Abacha's loot. How many of such loot? Just because Abacha is not in life now. So that is the issue. People are living larger than life. So that is it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, good afternoon. Okay. Good afternoon, Solomon, and your guest, Solomon Asika from Mushin. Solomon is the leaders that has projected themselves on us by making hunger to strive in the land. Not only that, insecurity like some internal killings, for example, Lekki Gate killing during the NSAS. These killings has instilled fear in people that they can't stand up for themselves anymore, and ethnic bigotry and hypocrisy has become the order of the day. Okay. Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on the show, sir.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, tell us your name, where you're calling from.
Okay, this is Moshoodi George calling from Accra, Ghana.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us on the show. Your contribution, please.
Yeah, please, thank you. Thank to the analysts over there. I really appreciate it so much.
Okay.
When we're talking about Africa as a whole, they should try to generalize some certain places. I'm not trying, there's corruption everywhere, yes, but when it comes to some certain countries, you know what others are doing. Like the things they are saying concerning this election, all those things, it doesn't happen over here. Today, my brother was calling me that Lagos, they are doing local election. They are telling them to bring their voters card to give them 3,000. Such things don't happen over here. You can't just say bring corruption and you will be looking at it will be happening. Last time they printed new money. We are all looking for money here in Nigeria, but terrorists are showing us the new money. Can you hear me, please?
We can hear you. Go on.
Okay. Thank you very much. They are showing money. Something like cultism, all these things they are doing over, they don't see them here. Last time I came to Nigeria, people are selling drug medicine in the streets, selling black market fuel. Such things don't happen here. At times I begin to wonder, Nigeria, they are well educated, but they're not civilized like here. They can just come, bring money, bring back, like the man was saying, you throw corn, you throw maize on the floor, people will follow you. Last time here, they brought bag of rice. I heard somebody, MC2 talking about it. They brought bag of rice. The people of Ghana here put back the back rice inside the car and tell them that they should go. They don't want such thing here. God has blessed Nigeria with many things. What has God not blessed us with? Tell me one thing God has not blessed us with. Yet we are suffering. The man called that even with his salary cannot eat 2 times a day. Cultism, people fighting. Do you know what kidnapping? Such things don't happen here in Ghana. It's a big crime here. A big man as old as 70 years, 60 years, we go and marry a 16-year-old girl. All those popular nonsense don't happen here. The first day I came to Ghana, I came very late. At midnight, 2 o'clock, I was saying I'm hungry. They say, let us go and eat. I say, by this time. And I went out, went to Ghana, go buy food, do everything. Everything was moving. Even when we see police, they are even waving us. I told them in Nigeria, if you go out by 2 o'clock, if you cannot fear witchcraft, you will fear armed robber. If you cannot fear armed robber, you fear police.
Okay, thank you
How
very
can I
much.
see police by 2 o'clock midnight in Nigeria and I will pay? I will not run. But such things don't happen here.
Okay, thank you.
Look at who God has brought to Ghana to liberate Ghana. JJ Rollins. When he was sick, he said he's not going anywhere. He stayed there in University of Ghana Teaching Hospital, Kolebu. That was where he died. And they buried him. Look at Buhari. I'm hearing last week now when he has traveled for sickness. Our youth governor who just come out from Kogi
we have
came to court and be telling them that he did the best hospital, but he wants them to leave to go outside the country and fit himself.
We have to
what
leave
a
time.
country.
We have to leave space for others.
May God help us.
Too. Thank you very much.
May God help us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, my son. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you very much for calling. Tell us the name and where you're calling from. Hello, sir.
I'm Elder Wachineke.
Okay, Elder Wachineke. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
From
Talk to
Greenfield
us,
Estate.
Yes, talk to us. I remember you.
Listen to me. I want to tell you this thing. When I was a child, I'm about 74 years now. There was a music Jimmy Cliff released. He said, you can't be wrong and get right. No matter how hard you may try. I am still thanking God that Nigeria is one. And I'm still thanking God that we have some people that can change this country. What we need now, my son Solomon, is come out and vote them out. Those people that we know that they are bad. This man,
but the electoral system doesn't encourage Nigerians to come out on veils, because I mean we've been crying for electoral reforms up till now. We don't know what's going on.
My son, I want to tell you, the Bible says since after John the Baptist, the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and the violent will take it by force. We must come out, old and new, to take this Nigeria. It's our own. And I am not a prophet, but I want to tell you what will happen. If they misuse 2027, Nigeria will disintegrate. What I'm telling you,
we pray not.
I pray not now, but I told you, say, any misuse in this country again, we have oil, we have everything. Look at it at Sambisa Forest. There is a mineral called California. It's the best mineral in the world and it's the most costly mineral in the world. Nigeria has it. Nigeria have gold. There is nothing you, my son, and myself did not have as God gave it to us. The last election, I am a witness that this man say that he's this thing, came to where we were voting and dragged the ballot box. The Calabar boys that we were together say you cannot go out with this ballot box. A military man that came with him raised up guns. They say we will collect this gun or we will not kill anybody.
And you witnessed that?
I witnessed it with my two naked eyes at Port Harcourt, at Obiapo local government, at GAT, You see how I'm calling it for you? So, my son, I am not a small boy again. I didn't believe that it is only the youth that will do it for us. Everybody should come out. Tinubu didn't win election. We knew. But the only thing is, had it been that he is ruling well, we let him go. But it seems that as I'm talking to you now, I cannot eat 3 square meals. Son, know what you will do for us. Everybody should campaign. Everybody, go to Festac. I am in Lagos now. There's no road in Festac. But they have started sharing 3,000 naira. What a country. It is a doom. What a country is that we cannot. I want to tell you, if you love yourself, or if you don't love yourself, go outside by 12 or 1. And the worst, let me say, I know I'm taking your time.
Yes,
the worst
you have to round off, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry. The worst of it now is every joint, everywhere you go, anywhere you go, is a aburu in the whole Nigeria. And excuse me, sir, the man that is the head of aburu is this our president. Let me rest my case. I am sorry. I'm taking your time.
The problem.
May the Lord bless you. Your mouth will not pay you.
Amen.
The Lord will give you.
Amen.
Will give you more strength and more. Look, you are going to be blessed. I bless you in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Amen.
In Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you very much, sir, for talking to us.
Yeah, blessed. Yeah, blessed.
Look, unfortunately, that's the last caller for today. Let me quickly read the messages I have here as I round up. Good afternoon. When the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse or misuse is inevitable. Since this government came into power through the back door of INEC and judiciary, it had turned the country to gangster paradise and economic disaster. Okay. This is from Lekon from Lagos. Thank you very much, Lekon. Good afternoon, Velvet Voice on Radio, Mr. Solomon. Thank you very much. African leaders are the ones making us to lose value of ourselves. Just look at the viral video going on since yesterday, how President Trump was making jokes with the president of Liberia that he speaks English very well, just because our leaders always use balls to beg assistance from them. Ernest is a Chuku from Akunwojo. Thank you very much, Ernest. As we still talk our problems, Mr. President don't care about the serious problems at hand, but is busy planning how to win election 2027. I have told you to take back our country. They would not kill us. Joe from Bariga. Thank you very much, Joe. Africans are blessed with everything, precisely Nigeria, but our leaders, due to greediness, kept inviting the Westerners for assistance, and in return they start tapping and milking our mineral resources in exchange. Today see how we are suffering. It's a pity, Solomon. Daniel from the Cotton. Thank you very much, Daniel. Good afternoon, Solo Wise and the VUP family. Good afternoon, sir. First, the analyst was referring to Joseph Stalin of the old Soviet Union. See, the kind of leadership of a people is a reflection of the collective mindset. The people are responsible for whatever is happening in our country now. If the people will resist the evil leadership in the land and come out fully to elect the right person who carries a positive mindset, the nations in the continent will be better for it. Chibuzo Ijesha. Thank you very much, Chibuzo. Okay, if you're calling or if you're texting, sorry, you're very much late to the party, because this is where we draw the curtain for today's edition of Matters, where we're talking about African leaders and their contributions to neo-colonialism. Now, as we go to overcome neo-colonialism, African leaders and citizens can work together to promote African industry, develop local industries, and reduce dependence on foreign goods and dependence on foreign powers, promote African industries, strengthen regional integration, foster economic and political ties among African nations to enhance bargaining power and reduce external influence. We have the West African region, we have the South African region, we have the Northern African region, these regional parts of African continent. They have these, for example, ECOWAS. We have ECOWAS for a reason. That should be strengthened. Empower local communities, prioritize the needs and interests of local communities and policy decisions. Renegotiate exploitative agreements, challenge unfair trade agreements, and renegotiate terms to benefit African nations. I'm tired of people having to blame the Western countries for what is happening in Africa. We the Africans and African leaders can take back what belongs to us. The US, the UK, the Europeans are exploiting Africans because we Africans and the African leaders allow them to. They did not put guns to our head. They did not say, give us this gold or you die. So let us stop blaming UK, the US. Let us stop blaming the international communities for what's happening in Africa, because we are contributing to that problem. And until we come together, until we say enough is enough, until we bring the right leaders, this problem will continue. Until tomorrow when I come your way again. The program is Matters. The station is Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Subscribe to all our social media handles at VOP903 FM. Follow us on all our social media handles at VOP903 FM. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at VOP903 FM. I remain yours sincerely, Solomon of FM. See you tomorrow at 1:30 p.m.